We begin in Ottawa, where several Liberal MPs openly questioned the Prime Minister's leadership today. The Liberal caucus met for more than 3 hours, and we know a number of MPs spoke up to tell their boss he needs to step down if the Liberals have any chance of winning the next election. The Prime Minister rushed past reporters when the meeting ended, and this is the only thing he said.
The Liberal Party is strong and united.
Strong and united. The CBC's Kate McKenna joins us live from Ottawa now. Kate, the Prime Minister gave that characterization of the meeting. What have you been hearing about what happened behind those closed doors?
Well, certainly publicly, there's been a lot of conversation about robust and healthy discussions, and what he said, that the Liberal Party is full of unity. But behind the scenes, we're getting a clearer picture of exactly what went down in that marathon caucus meeting that was more than 3 hours long. And at the center of it is this letter that had been said to be circulating for more than a week now, 2 weeks now, roughly, that we know now that 24 MPs have signed. We heard a little bit about what happened. We heard that the letter was read in the room, and that initially we thought about 4 or 5 MPs got up and shared their concerns about the Prime Minister, calling on the Prime Minister to step down. Now we know that number was actually closer to 20. So a big jump there. Some people did also speak in support of Trudeau. But what we've also learned about this letter is that it contains a deadline, and that deadline is October 28th. So Trudeau is asked by the people who signed that letter to come forward and say whether or not he's planning on staying or going by October 28th. And his reaction will prompt the upset Liberals to decide what the next steps will be. Now, of course, we know the Prime Minister has stayed on or intends to stay on, has said repeatedly that he intends to stay on. We also know it's not super clear what the angry Liberal MPs or the MPs who would like to see the Prime Minister step down, exactly what next steps they would take following this caucus meeting. But here's what some cabinet ministers said following the meeting this afternoon.
What happens in caucus is like a family. You need to listen to each other. You need to make sure you welcome the views of people. But at the end, it's like a dinner table. At the end of the dinner, we all need to come out and relentless focus on serving Canadians and winning the next election.
I think it was a very robust conversation. Of course, we don't discuss what takes place in National Caucus, except to say I think it was healthy. It was robust, and when at the end of it, I think we were united.
I am quite proud of my colleagues, whether I agree with them or not, because they were frank, they were honest, and they spoke with their hearts.
While I appreciate the interest in parliamentary antics, I am so convinced that what's happening, the good news on inflation, the good news on interest rates, is overwhelmingly the important thing for Canada and Canadians.
In terms of what Justin Trudeau's response was, we heard from sources that he told caucus he's going to reflect on what was shared and that he's not confident at this time that he needs to step aside, but said he will take time to reflect.
Okay, and Kate, some of the support that we heard in those comments seemed to continue into question period as well. Quite a round of applause for Trudeau when he was asked a question during question period. But the opposition parties did take some shots. So how did all of that play out?
Well, this is the second day now that Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has opened his question period, sort of needling the Prime Minister on the sort of caucus dissent, discussion in caucus about Justin Trudeau's leadership. And today he did it again, saying that maybe the Prime Minister is too busy with his own internal affairs to be in a good position to properly govern the country. Here's what he said.
24 Liberal MPs went to his caucus today to tell him that he's not worth the crime, cost, or corruption. They wanted to tell him that he's doubled housing costs, doubled the national debt, sent 2 million people to the food banks, but he wouldn't let them.
Speaker, in our caucus, people have always been free to speak their mind and have different perspectives.
And in response, we did see the Liberal MPs, the Liberal caucus, get up and give him a very loud standing ovation, as if to signal to the Conservatives and the rest of the House that they are a united party. It went on for so long that the Speaker of the House got up and had to calm the place down. But we do know, because of this October 28th deadline, that this is still a story that's set to unfurl in the coming weeks.
Okay, well, we will be watching. Kate, thank you so much. That's the CBC's Kate McKenna in Ottawa.